Alright, well, welcome to another Eustass Kid video from me. If you've seen my first video, I'm sure you've seen this one coming. I know I'm a little late to the reaction, but I'm here. I'm here to break down the fight between Eustass, Captain Kidd, and Emperor of the Seas, Red Hair Shanks. I tried filming this video unscripted and it came out a lot longer than I expected. So I'll try to get through this one a little quicker. I'm going to bring up key points within the fight that I wanted to discuss, and at the end of the video, I will discuss what kept Eustass Kid from reaching that Yonko status. So let's jump right in. Skipping past the beginning of the episode, which is Stella just doing her own thing with the Seraphims, we cut to Eustass Kid giving his crew a pep talk. The anime edition shows us that Eustass Kid is not the terrible captain that many people make him out to be. I'm not going to make him seem like as if he's one of the top 10 captains to his crew in the whole series, but there's clearly some faith he has within his crew, and that faith is reciprocated. Another thing I wanted to address in this regard that he's a terrible captain is that Eustass was not terrible for not turning back and instead fighting Shanks. As Eustass Kid states, and you can see this within his fellow competitors, there was no other direction for them to go. This was an unavoidable story mode boss fight he had to take on, be it him ready for the fight or not. Secondly, I find it hard to believe that people were just going to allow Kid to turn around and spare himself without ridicule. Besides, I think it would be more offensive to decide to turn around now after he and his crew have already been through so much life and death. Moving on. Take this devotion the Kid Pirates have for Kid, multiply the number by a lot, and apply it to Shanks. Shanks' crew obviously has the same, if not more dedication to him than the Kid Pirates. We see this in Eustass Kid meeting them and realizing just how weak they are, a notorious feat of the Red Hair fleet. Something Shanks recognizes himself and tells them, mind your own longevity more than your enemies, which is a slight clue and reminder of the kind of pirate Shanks is, which will be more visible through the rest of the fight. Which we quickly get to the climax of the fight, which is Eustass Kid starting to create the damned bunk. And within this section of the video is where I want to discuss just how dangerous the damned punk really is. First off, damned punk's accessibility. We see that Eustass Kid could not only pull this ability out from his own ship, but from the ships of his enemies as well, including their weapons and their entire ship actually. Not only does this pull them closer in range, but it disarms them from their hands, as well as their cannons to retaliate as well. And this is seemingly done with little to no drain to his stamina at all, similar to what his awakening does. The next thing is its power in relation to speed. Within 10 seconds of the future that Shanks saw, Eustass Kid would have been able to annihilate 9 ships in their entirety, if not for Shanks' intervention. This level of power, in addition to how accessible and low cost it is not something that can be matched by just anyone. The obvious quick answers that come up from people who can do it are at the top of the verse, signifying that Eustass Kid is indeed at the bare minimum relative to the top tiers. But what exactly makes it so dangerous in terms of attack power? If we look at Division, the entire boats were annihilated, just absolutely destroyed. It wasn't something like a cannonball hitting the side of their ship and they would have to start sinking. They were hit and they were gone. This, combined with the fact that it only happened within 10 seconds and 9 of the boats were destroyed, is not something that could just be glossed over. Another important piece of what makes damned punk so lethal is its construction phase. We see within the episode Eustass Kid is able to pull tools off his own ship, an obvious one that people could have guessed. However, what is also dangerous is that his attraction ability also disarms the opponent, similar to how it functions regularly. This stops those who are in target of damned punk from fighting back, at least by conventional means of cannonballs and whatnot. With this pull, the ships are also pulled in, stopping them from turning away to escape, essentially forcing them into the range of damned punk, which even if they could move, we see how fast the laser's aim can be adjusted as well, so it's not as if they would have gotten far anyways. Now with that being said, I'm not saying that these features are something exclusive to Eustass Kid. The first person that comes to mind is like Kizaru. But my point is that Eustass Kid is definitely within the upper echelon of pirates, which we see in this episode. Most people who could probably replicate this technique or level of devastation is someone who is also within that high tier of characters. With all that being said, Shanks' worry about said ability is shown prominently as he quickly gets to moving to prevent the attack. With sweat on his face, he immediately tells Dory and Broggy to get ready as he is hustling towards Eustass Kid's ship. He takes a huge leap and dashes over to Eustass Kid and lets off his first and finishing move, Divine Departure. As unfortunate as it is to see, it makes sense why Shanks acted the way he did. I won't say I foresaw Kid getting one-shotted when I first read the chapter a year ago, but I did expect him to lose. I just thought he'd put up a better fight, though it was completely in character for Shanks to act the way he did. Ever since the beginning of the series, Shanks has always played the role of a real pirate, essentially winning by whatever means necessary. He's not like Kaido or Big Mom where he's curious about what someone like Kid could do and that he'll just take the attacks for himself. I also don't think it's a stretch to say that he isn't as durable as to just tank damn Punk like Big Mom did. Another thing I want to note and correct about my last video is that I mentioned that observation haki could have helped him foresee what was going to happen to him. What I failed to remember is that Shanks supposedly has a skill known as Observation Killer, something that was noted in the volume release for the film Red movie. I did not receive a copy, so I couldn't verify myself, but if this is true, then there wasn't anything Kid could realistically do. So after being cut down by Divine Departure and sent flying back through the ship, Eustass Kid starts to have the Nanami daydream. What I wanted to point out that I noticed when I saw it for the first time is that within his mind, Eustass Kid only saw Killer and not the rest of his crew. This might be me speaking as a personal feeling, but I feel as if this was someone like Luffy, he would have ended up seeing his entire crew in a moment like this, or at least seeing Zoro first and then the rest of his crew. This might be a random point, but it was just something that I found interesting and might come up in a little bit later in the video. As for that next section of the video, it will be right now. This is what I wanted to go in depth about what keeps Eustass Kid from effectively standing in that Yonko place. Funny enough, these general arguments also apply to Law as well in case I bring them up. There are two main issues when it comes to Eustass Kid being held from that position: his overall stats and his crew. If you watched my last Eustass Kid video, I'm sure you're aware of the physical power he is lacking in, primarily within the hockey department. Though I don't think it's just hockey, I think it's bigger than hockey. The best way I can explain it is that Kid, as well as many on this level, are missing the overall Yonko build, and the best way I can explain that is through an example. The Yonkos all have abilities that make them Yonkos, but it's the well-rounded nature of that which makes it possible. Kaido is not just an overwhelmingly powerful strength man, he is also a proficient user of haki. He has a powerful mythical zone double fruit and has outrageous durability and endurance. Big Mom is also in the same ballpark: powerful physicality, proficient haki user, and diverse and powerful double fruit ability. Whitebeard and Blackbeard and Luffy are all the same way. As for Kid, he has Yonko stats, but not a Yonko build. Let's use the sport basketball for example, even if I'm not well versed in it. Eustass Kid has an immaculate 3-point shot that cannot be blocked by many in the league, and has the endurance to make that shot with little to no breaks for the entirety of the game. These stats are so predominant that it makes whatever team he's on a threat to any other superstar teams, including the Onigashima Beasts. However, when he's playing against said superstars, the rest of his stats show to be lacking. His passing, their defending, floaters, or how they play in the paint, raw strength. If my analogy is too much, Kid just doesn't have a lot of anything else to support his Yonko level stat. He's in the realm to compete, which is the bare minimum. Unless he gets into a situation like Law or Lucci, where they're fighting a Yonko that isn't taking them 100% serious, then situations like the Shanks incident is gonna happen. I already made a video on what exactly would help him, so if you would like to see that, go check that one out. I'm proud of that video. On to his crew, there are two factors I want to talk about. The first one being his main crew, and if I'm going to be honest, the Kid pirates only have Kid and Killer. I don't mean to hate on Heat and Wire or the rest of his crew, but Kid and Killer literally gap them in terms of power, as well as showings. And it seems that his entire boat can be contained to one ship. So essentially, two people versus the world, which in One Piece is practically a terrible decision. It more or less puts the work of fighting higher top tiers on only two of their members. The next factor is that Kid doesn't have a fleet either. like Luffy or any other emperor, though I wanted to point out that despite me bringing these two factors up as faults, I wouldn't change it. You see, the protagonist of the series has an important trait that is often glossed over by his fights, and that is his ability to inspire other people to help him in his cause. The samurais of Wano, the giants in Egghead, the citizens of Dressrosa, and others as well. This is just a trait that Kid and Law simply don't have, which is why I must say that while it sucks that his crew is terrible, it makes sense narratively. But that was all I wanted to talk about regarding this fight. Since 2 of the 3 videos I have on this channel right now is about Eustass Kid, I'm gonna move away from that. Try to push more videos out about something else. I think it's currently crazy to say that most of my videos is Eustass Kid, even if it's only 3 videos. So I'm gonna try to flip that. But I'll be completely honest. If a new chapter comes out talking about Eustass Kid is back, I'm making another video. I can't even lie. Though I plan to do another video like this for the Garp vs Hachinosu event when the fight is over, and maybe the Egghead incident as well. So look out for those. It seems that the Hunter x Hunter video did well, so I might try to do more videos on that when I fully catch up to the manga. In all honesty, the next video might be a Jujutsu Kaisen video, so stay tuned for that. I do have plans for other videos, but that does not mean I'm against suggestions as well. So if there's any other anime or manga that I should read and make a video about, feel free to drop them in the comments. Aside from that, I hope you guys have a good day. See you later.